The Steelers, their traveling road show, taking the trip, 130-something miles from Pittsburgh to Cleveland, so that long road trip of 130-something miles for a matchup with the Browns. And a couple of 1-1 teams looking to go above the break-even point. It was a nice autumn night, a cool night, but not a freezing night. Temperature in the high 50s. The wind was howling. Did you watch? Did you check this out? I don't know if you did or not. Maybe you had something else going on. So we'll get you caught up. Don't worry about it. Nick Chubb, he ran for 113 yards as we anticipated. Had a big day and a touchdown. And the Browns beating the Steelers 29-17 on a Thursday night. The game was actually closer than that. Cleveland scoring a touchdown on the final play of the game as Pittsburgh did the old helter-skelter Stanford band play and attempted to get the ball down the field in the final seconds, and they ended up fumbling, and it was recovered in the end zone as time ran out for a touchdown to fatten up the score. But Steelers had the ball final seconds, and they were down by 6 points. That was what the margin was at that point. So we could sit here and wax poetic about the Browns, but the better story is in the losing locker room. So that is where we go. That's where the drama-o-rama is. And so let us discuss the question, will this loss make Mike Tomlin reassess the Steelers' depth chart at the quarterback position? So the way I look at this, you got to do it. You got to do it. It's a got to do it situation. I've got Taylor Swift, Brunch, and Aristotle. And we will combine all these things together, and we are going to make those amazing sandwiches they have there in Pittsburgh, those Primanti Brothers sandwiches where they put the fries on top and everything. I've had that before. Pretty good.
Yummy.
Pretty good. Yes, it is yummy. It is yummy. All right, so Mike Tomlin is a unique. So we are fans of Mike Tomlin. He's a great soundbite. He is good for what we do. He feels the content kitty, and that's very nice. But he does not want to be bullied by the media or public pressure. And so we get that he's a proud guy who's very confident in his own ability. But every coach, my entire life, when I was working in sports radio, and just before that, my entire existence watching sports, every coach thinks that the unwashed fan is a bumpkin, a country bumpkin, below them. And you can't listen to the fan. You can't listen to the media. So all change has to be on the coach's terms. And so it's got to be Mike Tomlin that has the epiphany. And this game should push him along now, right? Push him a little closer. Now, that said, Tomlin's really got no choice but to reevaluate things. It's not working. This game was the tale of two halves. Mitch Trubisky, if you only watched the first half of this game, you'd say, well, he looked like a legitimate quarterback for half the game. At halftime, Trubisky, he'd only attempted 13 passes, but he had completed 9 of them, was averaging over 8 yards per pass attempt, and he did not have a touchdown, no interceptions, did have a rushing touchdown, and he was an effective quarterback through the first half. Not great, but okay. And then in the second half, the trap door opened up, and the real Mitch Trubisky returned, and the guy's a bum. The guy's a bum. The rest of the game, second half, Pittsburgh offense with Trubisky completed less than 60% of his passes for less than 100 yards, and no touchdowns, no interceptions. A passer rating in the second half below 72. That ain't good. And Pittsburgh's offense on third down, they had 9 third downs to matriculate the ball further, keep the chains moving. They were 1 of 9. That is an 11% efficiency rate on third down, and had not 1 but 2 fumbles. They lost 1 of the fumbles. The kind of performance that should get Mike Tomlin to play the Taylor Swift song, Change. It's a sad picture in Pittsburgh. It really is. We sing hallelujah. Bring in Kenny Pickett is what we sing over here. Give this guy some playing time. Now, that doesn't mean that Kenny Pickett's going to be a ball out, a can of fire that you open up and there's flame coming out. No, it's not going to be like that. There'll be some growing pains, but I want to see what he can do. We know what Mitch Trubisky can do. It's not good. Okay, he's at his best, he's an average NFL quarterback. He's proven that. And it appears that sabbatical that he had in Buffalo did not all of a sudden create this magical quarterback. That was a bad take that many dopes in the media had. Oh, no, it was the Bears. It was all the Bears. No. We've seen 3 games now with Mitch Trubisky, and he is who we thought he was. And there's no surprise here. There's no shock. He's exactly as advertised, the same dog with fleas from Chicago. So Pittsburgh, this is a nice point on the schedule to bring in Kenny Pickett because you got a long week. You played the Thursday night game. You don't play until next Sunday, week 4, Jets and Steelers, and that game is in Pittsburgh. And you want to get Pickett in there against the Jets because the Jets aren't very good. And then it's at Buffalo. You got the Bucs, at the Dolphins, and at the Eagles. So that is a murderer's row. So it is empirical that the Steelers win against the Jets to get back to 2-2. And then they have to find a way to upset either the Bucs or Dolphins just to stay average. In other words, there's no time like right now. There's no time like the present. Now, page 2, the highlight of the night, if you saw the Thursday night game, a win by the Browns, the highlight was on the losing side. On a 2nd down and 3 from the Steelers' 46-yard line in the first quarter, Mitch Trubisky passed deep to the right side, and a rookie wide receiver, George Pickens, talk about picking it. George Pickens, had a one-handed circus catch, gained 36 yards, bringing the ball all the way down to the Cleveland 18-yard line. And it was such a great play that it has opened up a debate. And we love debate in sports talk radio. And so the debate here, is it Odell Beckham's one-handed catch when he was a rookie with the Giants, or is it George Pickens of the Steelers with his one-handed catch as a rookie? Which catch was better? So I have decided to help the debate crowd out. I have put this under the microscope, and this is a laser printer situation. It is a replica. It is a duplicate. It's the spinning image. I don't know how else to say it. Both OBJ and Pickens, both first-year players, they each happened in primetime games. Their respective teams lost. The Giants, that Sunday night game against the Cowboys, the Giants were miserable. I think it was week 12 or something like that, and the Giants lost that game. And the Steelers, it's earlier in the season now, but they lost. And so the highlight reel play, both coming in losses. But Pickens, you go frame by frame here. And very nimble-footed, graceful, all-pro dexterity on that play. And more than just a football player, he's an acrobat. The flying Walindas could bring in George Pickens with that nimble footing, making that particular catch. And it's similar, identical to what Odell Beckham did back in the day. And it was a great play. It gets lost in the shuffle because Pittsburgh lost the game. But playing for a high-profile team like the Steelers, right, that is a signature play that should, the way these things work, get you a brunch, a luncheon with executives on Madison Avenue. And I'm talking endorsement deals. Now, I'm not an offensive coordinator, but I can play one on the radio, and I would think that Pittsburgh should be force-feeding targets to George Pickens. He did get 7 targets in this game. He only had 3 catches. Some of that is Mitch Trubisky. And Pickens, other than the 36-yard catch, the one-handed catch, outside of that sizzle reel catch, he only had 2 other catches for 3 total yards. So he didn't do bupkis. But he was great in college at Georgia. That's why he was a second-round pick. And he looks like he can have NFL defensive backs in the palm of his hands with that kind of ability. But, of course, the New York media will not allow you to say this is the equal to the Odell Beckham catch because there's that New York mindset that everything's better if it happens in New York. But it's the same exact play. It's the same exact play. Rookie, team lost, primetime night game, the whole thing. But what do I know? I'm just the overnight guy. All right, last word here. So, is the Browns offense that good where they kept matriculating the ball down the field, or is the Steeler defense that bad? And so the arrow is pointing over at Pittsburgh. And while Cleveland got the bad taste out of their mouth from giving a game away to the Jets, the arrow is on the side of the black and yellow. The black and yellow. Cleveland did what it wanted. Nick Chubb ran for 113 yards and a touchdown. He averaged almost 5 yards per rush by the end of the night. And Jacoby Brissett, who's a second-rate quarterback, was better than that in this game. He had a couple of touchdown passes. He had 220 yards. He was efficient. He was average yards per pass, but his passer rating was solid. Cleveland did a great job. They went for it on fourth down 4 times. They converted 3 of them. They were 75%, the Browns, on fourth down, and in the red zone, they converted 3 out of 4 times in the red zone. But you think about the Steelers and the perception of their defense, and that is the meat and potatoes of the Pittsburgh Steelers, that defense. And then you look at the Cleveland Browns and some of the possessions that they had. They had a 12-play, 79-yard drive, a 14-play, 80-yard drive, an 11-play, 80-yard drive. And those are big-time possessions when you can go 10-plus plays and eat a lot of clock off the time on the scoreboard. And they had one 7-minute drive. They had a drive that they possessed for almost 6 minutes. They had another one that was 6.5 minutes. And the Steeler defense could not get the stop to get them off the field. Now, is it true that all of this hardship is because T.J. Watt got hurt? That's bull pucky is what that is. Pittsburgh's defense allowed 376 yards to a backup quarterback. A backup quarterback. Watt, now listen, the guy's been great, defensive player of the year and all that. He's one guy. We're not talking about the NBA here. In the NFL, it's like the great Aristotle, the Greek philosopher, said, the whole is greater than the sum of its parts. Next man up, do your job. What happened to gang tackling? What about being disciplined, being able to stay with the wide receiver? And what I saw was soft and creamy, scrambled egg defense from many defenders in Pittsburgh. They only had a total of 4 quarterback hits the entire night, 3 tackles for loss. So defensive backs running in circles trying to catch up with Amari Cooper. The culpability is on the defense. And if you're going to tell me it's all because of T.J. Watt, okay, talk to the hand. Okay, talk to the hand, please. Will you please talk to the – I don't want to hear it. And I got no skin in the game. I'm not some kind of Pittsburgh apologist or anything like that. I'm not.